And welcome to my panelists. Hi, guys. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Mariam. Hi, Mato. Hi. How are you guys?
Tuko salama kabisa.
Yeah. That's I'm joking how to answer.
Yeah, I know. Because now when you ask, we start thinking like, how am I?
How am I?
How am I?
And then you think about all those stories you've just highlighted and you're like, how am I?
Okay?
I am not okay.
No,
Nyinyi kumbavu zenu, mimi niko sawa.
Hapana, mimi siko sawa. By the way, it's been such a toxic week for Kenya.
It has.
Such a toxic week for this country.
That's very true. I mean, every other week usually is, but then some are just worse.
Worse than others.
And somehow we like keep outdoing ourselves. You're like, this is rock bottom. Nope. There's another layer.
That's true. Is it us or the politicians though, Mariam? I feel like
it's them, but
showing us dust.
Sometimes it's also us, kidogo.
They keep us updated. They keep us on our toes. And it's just, they're like the 4th day of October. So I'm just thinking, gosh, what will happen by Christmas time? But otherwise, we're good. We're, you know, positive energy, love and light and all those good vibes.
Yeah. Well, I hope I had the same to say. And I was very upset. In fact, it's one of the things we were talking about with Mato when we first got to the office. Lawyer and activist Morara Keaso was attacked by goons and forced to flee Bomas of Kenya during a public participation exercise on the proposed impeachment of Deputy President Gachagua. The 28-year-old outspoken critic of the Kenya Kwanza regime was injured when he attempted to go on the podium and address the crowd. And it was raining chairs. There was a shot, I don't even know if you can play that, but he was cornered and you could just see them throwing chairs, and one of them really hit him really badly on the head. Look at that. Can you see that? Please let's note that the only thing Morara does is talk about the stalled projects. He is just highlighting how corrupt politicians are in this country. That's all he's doing. Look at that. Look at that.
That's why when you asked, is it the politicians or is it us? I was like, it's also us.
You're right.
It's not just the politicians because those are there's no one in government there throwing a chair at Morara. And even if you say, oh, you know, people are paid to do these things, you can take the politicians' money and do absolutely nothing. You know, con them the way they have conned you time after time, year after year. But this is really heartbreaking to see. We are definitely part of the problem. Like you said, all he does is go around and show you that every project that has sunk billions, millions, hundreds of thousands of shillings is actually nowhere. There's no progress going on core ground. That's all he does. And this is how we repay him. Mtu anakupigania au unampiga vita pia.
That's why we said goons by the Mariam.
I think hapa makosa ilifanyika kwa sababu the mood of the audience today at Bomas was anti-politicians. And because Morara just so happened to move from a Kenyan doing civil education to being a leader of a political party, I think the wrath of Kenyans just went to him as well. It is unfair. He is actually has been doing a very good job, but ni kama hiyo hasira ilienda ikamtandika because it was in the same space that people were saying Gachagua must go. People were saying Ruto must go in that same space. And you see, the interesting thing is there was a lady, there's a clip of a lady,
Caroline Chepto,
who yes, declared her name very loud and clear. Alisema saa hii ndio wakati mko na mashida zenu ndio mnatuita sisi ma youth na mnataka tuwasikize. Okay? Well, other than the fact that alisema chakula ni nini, alisema everybody must go. Si lazima tungojea ati mpaka wakati wa elections. But fact is, different areas in Kenya were having different opinions towards, you know, the not injection, the impeachment of the deputy president. Well, I'd say this. For once, ini vita yao, wacha wapigane. Wakimaliza, wakuje sasa, tunawangojea na Shif na Adani. Yeah? Aya. Mkimaliza hiyo mtatuambia.
Sorry, Cindy. Mona hashtag impeach both trending today, by the way.
That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. Shout out to Caroline Chepto. She was not
mincing her words.
Not at all. Not at all. Yes, Cindy?
First of all, I think what happened in Bomas was bogus. I think this whole impeachment thing is bogus, and I'm happy to be quoted on it because we are removing our focus from how our country is being sold and stolen from right under us. And it just goes to show how we are so sensational and, as Kenyans, that if something small, scandalous is dangled in front of us, we jump up and we bite and we forget, you know, the grand picture. There is this Nigerian proverb, I'll say it very quickly in the interest of time, that how do you trap a monkey? You trap it with something shiny. So you put something shiny in a gourd, and it will put its hand in the gourd, and it will struggle to remove the hand, not because it's stuck in the gourd, but because it wants to catch something shiny.
But Cindy,
so that is what we are being done for. All this impeachment stuff is shiny things that are being put in our eyes, but we are being trapped to forget what is actually going on.
but Cindy, you don't feel something has changed? Like, people are aware that that is what they are trying to do.
But if people are aware that's what they're trying to do, who are these people who are throwing chairs
Goons.
at Morara?
Those are
Goons.
goons.
I've told you, hired
Those
goons.
are
The
goons.
same way during Maandamano,
Yes.
we had hundreds of
Hired goons.
Dudi riders coming in with brand new printed, what are they called? What were they?
Placards,
Yeah.
t-shirts.
Oh, getting
Fresh,
fuel,
fresh
Fuel,
printed,
yes.
Yes. You know, we did see a lot of people who were interrupting, you know, the demonstrations, our
Yeah.
very peaceful demonstrations, so that they could give it a bad name. They could say, look, they're here to loot. Look, they're here to do this and they're here to do that. But I feel like, haven't you seen this script before? We have, yeah?
Yeah, we have.
We have so many
Yeah.
times. It's just with the younger generation, and I personally am a bit disappointed with Casmuel. You know,
Why?
because he stands for, or rather, he was a figure of the people of Gen Z movement and standing against sensationalization. And now he's up on a podium. Instead of speaking like Caroline, he's speaking like the politicians, to the point where they're behind him and they're nodding. You're like, seriously, how much is your soul worth? There's absolutely no way you can convince me that you've not sold your soul.
Yeah.
It's disappointing.
Because those politicians, when they're clapping for you and agreeing with you, just know.
Just
That
know
you're the
that
problem.
you're lying
You
in
have-
bed with them, and
Yeah.
you know you've been put on a pedestal by people who believe that you're fighting for the people. But now you've decided to go on the other side, and the person who's actually fighting for the people is literally being fought.
Can I
Could
say
that
something?
be the reason probably why? Sorry.
There's always a danger whenever you see someone pop out and come out and be very vocal against the government, and we've seen a lot of it over the last few months. There's always that danger that they'll either flip to the other side or become the thing that they are fighting against. So for some people it takes 10 years, for some people it takes 6 months, some people it takes, I don't know, maybe a few days. It just depends on how they get you. But whenever you see someone with like a hunger for wanting to be seen, not so much pushing their agenda, but they're just like, I want to be seen to be doing something, that's always like a big red flag. And I don't know about Casmuel's bigger agenda or even Morara's. You support them when they're with you. When they're no longer with you, you leave them behind. When they're pushing like what we are pushing, good. If not, keep it moving.
Well, it could be also the fact that we had politicians who were defending Morara even during his case. That people have started feeling that, okay, he's no longer in bed with us, he's in bed with the other people, because it's an us against them. It's a very clear politicians, the political class against the Kenyans.
Absolutely.
That's very true. And if they don't see it that way, then that's just how, you know, you can tell that we exist in very different worlds, you know. All right, so now as we move on, the nerve-wracking abduction and gang raping of a Mombasa-based blogger over political differences has left the country fuming, with calls being made for those responsible to face the full force of the law. Bruce John, popularly known as Chawa, was brutally abducted from his home in Bamburi by people linked to Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir before being assaulted, sodomized and left in a dump site at Mwakirunge area within Mombasa County. While 4 people have been charged with the abduction and sexual assault of the blogger, many Kenyans are calling for the arrest and prosecution of the governor, whom Bruce has accused of having a hand in his ordeal. Now, I don't know if you guys listened to the audio. There was an audio that was shared. It completely broke my heart, and you could hear them confirming, "Wewe ndiye Bruce, utawachana na governor." And I don't, you know, politics is a very dirty game, you know, so I don't even know if it was the actual audio of you know, the incident. I don't know, but that's what you hear in the audio, them telling him to not talk about the governor. So it was completely heartbreaking. And you know, we have all, especially hapa kwa hii panel, tumeongea tumesema vitu mingi. Have you guys seen the video though of what Bruce had said? He did talk badly. He did insult the governor's mom, the governor's wife. I understand. I'm insulted every day. In fact, even today, right under this hashtag, you will find very many insults, and some of them will be very personal. But I've never thought of sending anyone to do anything. I don't understand, Mato. I know you saw the video. I know you saw the story. What were your thoughts?
I did.
Given how very vocal you are.
You
are vocal.
Unajaribu kuharibu bwana.
No, nakwambia venye nashtua tu, yani mtu mmoja anaweza fanywa hivyo.
I intentionally avoided watching the video. But I did see the story, and I think and I believe the intention of this action was not only to publicly embarrass the guy, but to also break him psychologically, mentally, wound him to the core of who he is as a man, what he stands for and what he represents. I can only hope that they did not succeed, but it is very clear the entire nation at this point knows that this man was sodomized. Like, you know, probably even small kids in the streets who have no emotional intelligence to know how to handle talking to somebody who has gone through such an ordeal. They have unfortunately succeeded in that thing. I can only hope and pray. And, you know, I don't know, okay, see condolences. Like, pole tu sana, Bruce. This was a very heartbreaking ordeal for you to go through. First as a man, then as a Kenyan. It is very unfair. And I don't think anything is going to happen to the governor, because there is no direct evidence that points to the fact that he was actively involved or actually involved. And he's just going to go scot-free, and he's accomplished what he needed to accomplish.
I like that Bruce came out with this story, you know. The shame should not be on him. Yeah. And the same thing happened to the French lady. I don't know if you guys had the chance to see that story. There was a French lady whose husband, for close to a decade, I understand, would drug her and record her having intercourse with many men, and he proceeds to sell those videos and clips on the internet. And she told this story because she didn't want to cling on that shame, because it does affect you psychologically, emotionally, and as you've said, Mato, as a man, it does affect you. And I like that he came out and talked about the story, and he has received empathy from all, you know, corners of the country. Mariam, I want to hear your thoughts as well.
First of all, pole sana to Bruce and to all other victims of sexual violence. I think this is the first time where I've seen people not go the other way when a story like this comes out. You know, usually, men
blame the victim.
Yes, blame the victim, or even try to turn it into a joke or something of the sort. This is the first time I haven't seen that happen. I will say this. When you give people an inch, they take a mile. So this is a direct correlation of letting the smaller things slide. Like the use of violence by this administration to, you know, quell people who are vocal about the injustices going on, or to clamp down on dissent, has been very, very prominent. And this is just like another step. It's an allegation as of now, but now that we're graduating from this form of violence to now sexual violence, like these things are not accidental. That's why whenever we have these calls for justice for every small wrongdoing, it's so important to keep people in check. I hope that justice is found. I know it's an allegation, there's links and, you know, all of that, so I won't go into that, but I really, really hope that there is a world in where Bruce gets justice. I don't even know what justice looks like exactly for him, but I hope there is a world in where he gets it. And we can't let it slide, because you let it slide, then who knows what the next thing is.
Yes, who knows. You know, we all watched the video of DJ Evolve, and, you know, we haven't seen any action really being taken, and there's a hopelessness that people feel. You know, and then seeing Bonnie, I don't know if you guys saw Boniface Mwangi in hospital, and, you know, sometimes it really does break your heart to see what everyone who has decided to speak up, which is pretty much all of us at this point, what, you know, a lot of us are going through mentally. Now, Cindy, I know you haven't said your piece. I will talk to you right after the break. We have to take a quick break. We have more coming up, though, right after the break. Do not go anywhere. You're watching TTTT. And welcome back. Right before the break, we were talking about the abduction that took place in Mombasa, where a blogger was not only tortured, but he was also sodomized. Cindy, we didn't hear from you. What are your thoughts on that?
I first heard about this story when I saw a post on Jugusha's Instagram, Justice for Bruce. I was like, hey, what's going on? I was a bit out of touch. And I went to Twitter. And when I just went through the thread, my heart was I was so heartbroken. I have not heard any audio. I have not watched any video. I saw bits of some, you know, censored clips. And I'm just like, when did we get so evil as a country? There's some things that are happening. I don't know. You know, I mean, you asked me earlier on, do you feel that things are changing? Do you guys actually feel like Kenya has become more evil? Like there is another level of stuff that we do that's unprecedented. We've never seen it before. Fine, you could say it's a generational thing, but guys are just doing some really nasty, horrible, heartbreaking things. And they're recording it and they're getting away with it. Yeah. So in my heart, I'm just like, so what is the end game? What are we saying to activists, people who are speaking up and speaking for the people and against corruption? Is this the way to go? Are we justifying? So that is somebody's child, somebody's husband, maybe somebody's father. I don't know if Bruce has kids, but it's just, the immediate thought that came to my mind is, when did we get so evil as a country? Yeah. It's baffling. Those are things you see in other countries. You're like, hey, in Kenya, never.
But Nyayo House, you know, they went through, the torture was bad, and
never see again.
Yeah.
Right? That was like, it was a history lesson.
Yeah.
But someone is determined to take us back to those days where it's like our present as well.
Yeah. And since when, what do you mean you can't differ with someone? Everybody, when you get into politics, don't you know that you have people who hate everything about you?
That you are employed by the people. That when they differ with you, their taxes are paying your salary. They have a right to have a voice and have checks and balances.
But Cindy,
you know,
Mato, you mean to tell me that he could not seek legal redress? There was nothing he could have done.
In Kenya, you get a position like this. You feel so important.
That's true.
That nobody should even breathe the same air that you're breathing. You should not stand within 100 centimeters next to me.
But I don't know. The evil is, like Cindy is saying, there's something so deep-rootedly evil about it. Because even his mom is implicated. The governor's mom is also implicated in the investigation. I'm like, someone's mother doing that to someone's child. How do we, you know, even deal with this as a country? If the allegations are found to be true, then they all need to be in jail, right? All of them, from the people who are in that clip, from the men who sodomized him, to the governor, to his mom.
Because that's what Bruce did say, that the mom was also, you know, part of it. Pole sana, Bruce. Truly, pole sana. And also pole to Morara. You didn't deserve that.
Justice for Bruce.
Yeah. Now, let's switch things over to Kakamega now. A small-scale businesswoman in Kakamega County reportedly died by suicide on the 1st of October, earlier this week on Tuesday, after allegedly losing 60,000 in a gambling spree. The Kambiri area chief, while speaking to the press, disclosed that the woman was found dead inside her shop in Kakamega town. This isn't the first of this case we have had when it comes to gambling, because you believe it's coming back. She knew she's going to win, like, let's say 100K or 200K, and people even gamble fees, rent, things that you know it's coming back. So you can't have that conversation with your spouse or your partner or your family, and you just decide to take your own life. Yes, Mato?
As a content creator, people keep on asking me, why don't you endorse, why don't you promote, betting. Why don't you do betting or gambling? This is why. And I will not, I do not do it myself. I will not promote it or, you know, glorify it. No matter how many times it can be said, it can change your life. The fact remains, it has destroyed more lives than the lives it has changed.
Yeah, it has.
That's true. That is very true, by the way. And they pay well, but why? They pay well.
Because they make a lot of money.
Let me tell you.
They pay better than any other.
Hapa tu. Naangalia watoto wangu watatu, naangalia hii pesa. Then nakumbuka, ni watoto wangu natafutia hii pesa. So ninataka kutumia hii pesa kuwatafutia alafu ikuje iwa
poteze ujui
wacha ikae.
I get what Mato is saying. I mean, here's the thing. There's always like the bigger question of what's happening as far as regulation is concerned in this country for betting, right? Because people don't gamble here for fun or for, you know, I have a little extra, let me see what happens here. People gamble for a living. Like you've said, Amina, people are like, Nekai school fees because I have 3 kids and school fees for 1. If I can triple it today, that would be fantastic. So I'm putting my rent down, I'm putting my entire salo, I'm putting the last 1,000 bob, the last 50 bob, and that's where you get to a point where you're so desperate where you feel like, you know, this is the end for me if the bet goes wrong. Now, the gaming and regulation question is a big one because whenever we try to regulate gaming, it's from a tax perspective. It's how much can the government extract from betting because they're making so much money with absolutely no thought to what can we do to protect our people from this level of gambling. Even something as simple as a cap of how much you can bet in a day. Something so small, so people are not putting in their last 60K and then finding themselves in such a terrible position, right? Even something as simple as creating a work environment where people have meaningful employment so that they don't treat betting like a career. Yes. Things like that, like a job environment like that works as, a source of income for them.
Mariam, you're so funny. So you want the government now to care about you. Oh, okay.
Yo, yeah, I want them to do their job.
Okay.
Impossible.
Why? Yeah.
Gambling can't be regulated.
We have to focus on the taxes. What was the reason Sportpesa exited the market, you know, initially?
Taxes. It was taxes.
It wasn't because people were being affected and, you know, the children were not going to school. It had nothing to do with that. Yes, Cindy?
So, gambling, alcohol, cigarettes, they're all drugs. They are all
addictive,
very highly addictive. And there's a reason why the government cannot regulate to the extent that, you know, Mariam is saying where they put a cap because they benefit. The more people gamble, the more the betting companies make money, the more
taxes
they are taxed.
They collect.
So it is the question of, is it somebody's personal choice to put their entire savings into gambling? Vis-a-vis, it's somebody's personal choice to to drink their rent? Is it somebody's personal choice to buy a packet of cigarettes and smoke until they get lung cancer? Where does the personal choice come in? That's my angle. It's important to know that with every habit, of course, there's the desperation with gambling because there's an immediate return, there is money. But with all these addictions, there is a choice because you get something from it. So at what point do we say, okay, gambling is bad, but it is also somebody's choice to put their entire life savings into this funny game or into this football minis? Where does the personal
Because at the
choice
same
come
time,
in?
the government, once they step in, then you say, but I have free will. What do you mean? This is my money, myself. What do you mean you're telling me what to do with it?
I don't think regulation has to be like, hey, ban this, do that. I'll give a good example of like vapes in the UK were becoming a big problem. Teenagers vaping, which of course they'll do, right? But the UK government did a very simple thing of having, requiring them to lower the amount of their nicotine, yes, substantially, right? And also to have it labeled, only sold in specific places, all of that. That simple, very small regulation means that the UK now has much lower levels of like vaping compared to the rest of the West and especially the US. Something so small can make such a big difference, but we want to be like, and it's not, they've not taken away the free will. They didn't ban vapes. They just said you can only have nicotine of this amount so that the level of addictiveness is like reduced. And it's like a small, you know, little regulation, but it made such a huge difference for them as a country. And I think if there's those small changes that we can make, but like you've said, the more people gamble, the more the tax shillings. So we're on our own.
We were supposed to ban vapes in the country.
Yeah, even
what
shisha.
Happened? I mean, shisha is still so funny. Shisha is still so
funny. It's still banned.
In fact, that's what happened.
Technically, it's banned.
I'll tell you something one day. You know, in Kenya, what happened is when they banned shisha, all of a sudden, people realized, there's this thing called vapes. Now, vape is more harmful. They're both just as bad, but vapes are more harmful. And the worst part is that you're allowed to go with it on the aeroplane. You're allowed, you know, you can't detect the smoke as if, you know, when you're smoking cigarettes. And I wish it was banned because younger and younger people are now trying it out. And all it takes is you taking one puff. People used to deter from cigarettes because it makes you cough. It gives you a... It's not the same when it comes to vapes
that come in as smartwatches.
What?
Yes. Yes, a vape that comes as a smartwatch.
It's
Unacheki
too
tu iko
much.
hapa, then and then
Wow,
unarudisha.
okay.
Telling you, scene industry is very creative.
It should be banned. It should be banned. And you don't even know when you get addicted to it. There are more vape addicts in the country now. It's insane.
Yeah.
High school kids, primary, like we don't want to get to the level, you know, that the UK got to, but it's really, really bad. It's really bad. All right, so now talking of bad, this is probably one of the worst stories that I had of the entire week. And again, nini ninaendelea. Teresia Wamboi, a daycare owner and operator in Wangige, Kiambu County, has been arrested for allegedly engaging young children aged between 2 and 4 in sexual acts. Police raided a three-year-old facility after a tip-off and a complaint from a parent and found more than 10 children thought to be victims of the suspect's disgraceful acts. During the arrest, the woman attempted to crash a phone believed to be containing video recordings of the minors performing despicable acts with each other. As a parent, you leave your kids at the daycare to try go hustle, you know. There's usually, you know, other family member nearby. Maybe you're a single mom or a single dad, or both of you go to work, so you have to leave the kids. And then this is what you hear. That's, I don't even know how I would, I don't know. I don't know.
Well,
Fendi,
this one is a tough one.
it's
So
a
this
very
is not
tough one.
this is not a conversation again like what happened earlier with the children, no other children who died. Yeah.
Okay.
This is not a conversation on be careful on who you leave your children with. It is not that, because this is somebody who is meant to be running a legitimate business who is just evil to the core by themselves. Because no matter how much due diligence you'd have done, this would not have come to be known had that one person, you know, been lucky to see something that looked very strange in this person's phone, and then akasema hapa kuna shida. Because kuna wale wanasema nyinyi wazazi ambao pia si mkae na watoto wenu nyumbani mwachunge badala kuwapeleka kwa daycare. You do not know the circumstances around these parents who need that service provided by this woman, and what this woman was selling was trust, which she broke. This is what she was selling. It was trust which she broke. And to think that I personally actually wanted to go into this business at some point in my life. Where?
No, but there's nothing wrong with that, Mato.
No.
You're very...
Where?
No, it's true. You know, I don't know if you remember the story of the daycare owner in the US who killed her husband because she found out that he was molesting the kids at the daycare center. There are some people who start daycare centers and they're pedos. You know, there are people who work with kids, whether it's opening an orphanage or you know you have an NGO that deals with children, but you know they're creepy like that. Pedos are really weird, bro. And also, who is she selling these clips and videos to? What the hell is going on, Mariam?
It's a whole ring, clearly. And the fact that she had, customers that she was trying to protect when she was caught, because the first thing she did was try and like break the phone, because that's where all the evidence was, means it's a much bigger ring. So that needs to be taken care of, because pedophilia in this country is such a big business. Child trafficking, sex trafficking, big businesses along the coast, but even in Nairobi, anywhere basically. The fact that people entrusted their children with her is so scary. I don't know for any parent out there. I don't even know. I also hope that these kids get the necessary help, so they can one day, you know, hopefully recover from this from a psychological perspective, because it's a lot to go through at such a young age. And I wish the same for their parents. But like I said, child trafficking, sex trafficking, child pornography, there's such big issues that we don't take care of, because a lot of the times it happens to kids who are either orphaned or street children, or you know, or from very like destitute homes and things like that. So it doesn't catch people's radar, because for some reason, you know, it's like you don't think those kids are deserving of the same rights. But I'm hoping that we can get to a place where that, you know, we're not talking about children being trafficked. Child pornography is a thing of the past. We have safeguards online for catching these things. Yeah, maybe in a different Kenya.
May she burn in hell.
I hope
May
so.
she burn in hell. May
This
she
story
get
is a
the
Leo
full
one.
force of the law May she be cornered when she's in jail and worse things are
happening
to her.
Yeah.
May she always drop the soap and get the full penalty.
Yeah.
And may the wrath that she has brought upon these children come before
10
to her
times.
10 times.
Yes.
Because if you over-sexualize a child when they are young, it is very difficult to change. There are things that you can change later on in a child, but over-sexualization, it becomes part and parcel. And the way Mariam has said, God be with those kids. Bring me back to my earlier question. Why has Kenya become so evil? It's become so evil. And yes, you could say, oh, there are cases like that. There was a charity. I think it was last year but one. Some foreigner, I think some UK guy who was extradited to the UK to face charges because apparently he was molesting these boys. You know, so it does happen. But I'm just thinking of late. Do you know, I personally told, even before the show, I told my husband, I'm not going to talk about this story. It's traumatizing me. I have boys that age. And these women are these are nannies, most of them. Unaenda kibarua unacha mtoto wako. Now you have double trouble. You have to still fend for your kids. Because you know, see at now, because their kids have been molested in this daycare, they will not take their kids to another daycare. They have to. I want an option. And that time your child's burn in hell.
Yeah, I would for sure be in jail. I know.
I would, girl.
Hey?
I would be in jail with you.
Yeah. I hope she also burns in hell. That is wicked, wicked, wicked. I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, is this a true story?
Yes.
Like, did this actually happen? You were shocked as well, right?
Yes.
And I know you're equally as shocked as you watch the show. Please tell me what your thoughts are on any of the stories that we have discussed at the Trend Live. The hashtag is TTTT. We're about to take a break. Let's find out what's coming up on the news at the top of the hour. We'll be right back after this. And we're back. All right, so we promised to read some messages on X. I would, of course, as usual, love to hear from you watching about any of the stories that we have so far discussed. Let me start off with Mariam.
I'm seeing someone on Twitter saying, of course, shame on them to the people who are attacking Morara. He feels that, you know what, that was absolutely out of order. I'm seeing Golden Karina saying, impeach both under the issue of, the Morara issue. And then he's saying, impeach both. The fact that all of them, mtoizitwa, suruali bila kutoa trouser, ama the other way around. I don't know what he's saying. I also see Michael Mitch saying on the story of the gambling that it's so sad that the effects of the economy and the dubious ways of making money through gambling are grasping and destroying careers and families. These betting platforms are always cunning and always prolong the bridge between the poor and the rich by making people lazy.
Azumi says, Igava ni kama it has mastered the art of diversions and giving us the slip, but jokes on them. We have the same traps Gachagua planted in their yard, now being used against them. Inject, na tusisahau venye wanatuzungusha na IEBC. Teddy is asking us, are you guys aware my university is closed just because students demonstrated they wanted to go back to class to be taught? Where are we headed as a country? 7 weeks wasted, no learning. I was in my university. Gosh, I'm shocked I graduated.
Max Nilma,
we'd be out of class more than we were in.
Max Nilma says, nowadays nikiwatch TV damu inachemka tu msee.
Really,
Nimejam tu sana. Yani nimejam tu. Huwezi guza Morara hivyo alafu expect to just sit down and do nothing. I despise these politicians from the very depth of my blackened black heart. Then Dr. Kevin Sindora says, hello guys, great to see you. Mimi sina maoni leo. Wacha nisalimie my all-time crush, Mariam Bisha.
Nimesalimika.
Apparently, Mariam, what you're wearing is giving people pressure. Azumi is like, darling, you're looking delish, but your yellow, your UDA is throwing me off.
Pole, ni yellow tu yangu, siya UDA.
Siya UDA. Yes.
But then there's always a tweet asking if Mariam is single.
Leo,
I see Abuya or Abuya. TJ Kajwang.
Kuna yako hapa.
Iko.
OMG, Amina the Green Slay girl.
But people are asking for KG, TJ Kajwang to also, because he was inciting the goons. I don't know if you guys had that on the microphone. But Morara went to hospital. He was attacked, which of course it didn't need to get there. I'm just, I don't know, but I also just get really upset every time I watch the news these days. So that's not, I'm so sure very many Kenyans agree that it is upsetting to watch what is happening. Because you feel like you're watching things burn and you don't know what to do. Between Adani, the impeachments, you're like, we're gonna drama mob. All right, so let's move over a bit to Uganda. So, a Ugandan member of parliament has tabled a bill that may invalidate a marriage if newly wedded couples do not consummate it within 6 months. The Marriage Bill 2024, tabled by Tororo District Women MP Sarah Opendi, will give newlyweds a 6-month ultimatum, failure to which their union will be declared null and void. This isn't something Kenyans should ever. Nairobi.
Kenya kuna shida.
It's not a Kenyan issue.
This is a non-issue for Kenyans. 6 months. That's what are we doing?
That's a grace period and a half.
That's
six months.
Alafu huku kwetu ni ukika na mtu 6 months.
You're automatically
married.
Yeah.
You know?
The goalpost is shifting. Now, you know, when the legislation came up, I was like, okay, what was the problem that led to this bill being drafted? Was this MP seeing marriages where people are taking longer than 6 months to consummate, and she was like, we have to put it in the law? Was that an issue? Or did she just come up with it out of nowhere?
Is it the men or the women who was complaining?
That's
I also want to know.
And then 6 months, she took on my brother and sister. Like, what up, bro? What up, sis?
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Who is the person who came up with this law?
An MP, a lady.
Is it a female or a male MP?
A female.
A female MP. So she's fighting for the rights of the females
women.
in Uganda.
So uko
And
Uganda.
you know very well that the Ugandan ladies, they like to be okay.
You would know, Macho. You would know.
Let us move to the next story if there is one.
But it's like, we didn't need 6 months. We were okay. No, but 6 months is a long time. I feel like just, 2 weeks, even a week, even that 1 week.
Yes.
What are we doing here? What are we
The
doing?
impression, if you don't consummate, it's not legal. Is that a thing? It's just
And how will they know? Back in the day, they used
I
to come and check, because when you break your hymen, you bleed a little. So they used to check culturally where I'm from. And, for a lot of Kushite communities. They do that.
Interesting fact very quickly.
Quickly.
The responsibilities of the male in the setup of the marriage. If the male does not meet his responsibilities, it is punishable by law. But if the female does not meet her responsibilities, anaweza jibamba tu.
Yeah, ni jibambe.
No, the man can take.
You can take them to court.
You can take a woman.
You
You can take a woman to court, and she's punished for not having sex with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can sue for divorce. It's negligence.
Yes, you can sue for divorce. That is one thing. Yes. But will she be punished?
Of course not.
Why?
Why?
Would the man be punished, Mato?
No, the man ni kuprovide. Akikosa kuprovide,
guys, I need to real quick talk about the next story. I'm so sorry. Mimi nimekwambia hii issue Kenya. Sisi tunaambiwa, in fact, guys, please relax. Let's just
slow down.
Take a chill pill. It's fine. Kwani unagongewa mtu wako unasema nini? Hey. Anyway, now nominated Senator Gloria Orwoba has called for the ban of X, formerly Twitter in Kenya, stating that it is used to spread misinformation and hate speech. And I want to know what you guys think.
Why are we still talking about her?
That's exactly it.
She's such a non-issue like the previous topic. Like, seriously.
Same. I was just about, let me zip it, because if I talk, I'll talk trash. Honestly, given every other story we've talked about and the seriousness of the issues that are plaguing our country, Gloria, this is the hill you want to die on?
She has too much energy for a nominated senator.
Hey,
too much.
You know, let me tell you,
pads for girls.
Anafanya kazi zingine mzuri.
Hakuna kazi anafanya.
Pads for girls was a sham.
Still not free.
It was a sham, first of all. So
listen, your entire campaign cannot be about
sanitary towels.
And then you support it being taxed.
Right?
The irony of it all.
Honestly,
the audacity of it all. So no, I mean, it's also not a good time to be a politician right now, unless you're maybe Peter Salasya, because he looks like he's the only one enjoying his time.
Having fun.
And he said the reason why he's not scared is because back at home, people know he's working. That's why you cannot walk in front of people. So the reason why they're finding it really hot on X, and let me tell you, when you're trending on that Twitter, because people come at you hot, heavy, endless. It's an endless, you just see it. notification, 14 tweets already in the past 4 seconds. So I know how they feel on their end, but then why don't you hold yourself to account? Why don't you look at it? They're not just hating, they're not even just criticizing. They want you to do better. Now, hawataki kukubembeleza, hiyo ndo shida. But anyway, thank you so much, guys. Mato?
No, you're just being held accountable.
Yeah.
And
Mario?
accountability is where they draw the line.
Yeah, accountability hurts kidogo kidogo.
Kidogo. Small, small. Cindy?
Again, she's a non-issue. So.
Hey! Cindy amesema kama hamuna stories zingine tafadhali close the show. We are not talking about it. Close the show. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Amina Abdurrabba. We'll catch you at 10 p.m. We have King Madi. We have a host of other guests. Please make sure that you check out the show at 10 p.m. Time now, though, for the news. Good evening.